गंगाधराय नमः। गंगाधराय नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय नमः। हर हर हराय नमः। हर हर हराय नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय नमः। ओम नमः शिवाय नमः। हर हर हराय नमः। हर हर हराय नमः। शिव शिव शिवाय नमः। शिव शिव शिवाय नमः। सर्वेश्वराय नमः। सर्वेश्वराय नमः। जगदीश्वराय नमः। जगदीश्वराय नमः। No question answers? जरूर बोलिए।
स्वामी जी ये मेरा क्वेश्चन नहीं है, मेरे ग्रैंडसन का है क्वेश्चन। तो स्वामी जी वो मैं उसको गणेश जी की कथा सुना रही थी, कहानी को सुनने को कहा, तो मैंने कहा चलो शिव जी और गणेश जी की। तो उसने मेरे से क्वेश्चन किया कि नानी, शिव जी जब गॉड एंड गणेश इज गॉड, so why शिव जी cut her
Yes.
head is not good? ये तो then I told her, मैंने उसको कहा कि वो उसने जाने नहीं दे रहा था अंदर अपने डैडी को, तो वो बोलता है कि वो भी तो ओबे कर रहा था अपनी मम्मी का। तो मुझे उत्तर देते नहीं बना, तो मैं आपसे उसके दिमाग में अभी भी ये क्वेश्चन है। और वो शिव भक्त है, मतलब वो शिव जी को ज्यादा, उसका नाम ईशान है, तो उसको पता है कि मेरा नाम शिव जी से।
देखो, इनका मस्तक काट के उनको ज्यादा महत्व दिया, क्योंकि उनके धड़ पर मनुष्य का मस्तक था। भी जो हाथी का मस्तक है वो सबसे बड़ा है, इसलिए हाथी की बुद्धि सबसे ज्यादा है। इसलिए वहां सभी से ये गणेश जी बुद्धि के देवता हुए, ज्ञान के देवता हुए, तो उनको ऐसा देवता का महत्व दिया गया ये करने से। तो उनका जो छोटापन था, मर्यादा, लिमिटेडनेस, वो काट दी गई और लिमिटलेसनेस दी गई, ऐसा कह सकते हैं। गज का अर्थ ये भी होता है, ग और ज, गच्छति जायते, उसमें से जन्म भी होता है, नष्ट भी होता है। तो गज का अर्थ है ईश्वर, जो जगत का सृजन करता है, पालन करता है, नाश करता है। तो उनका जो मस्तक है वो ईश्वर का सूचक है, उनका जो देह है वो जीव का सूचक है, और वो तो जीव और ईश्वर का ऐक्य का सूचक है। तो बहुत बड़ा पद दे दिया उनको ऐसा करने से। It is safe to say that this is my grandson's question. See, in case that question is not it goes to him, नहीं, ये सब हम कहानियां कहते हैं, तब ये सब प्रश्न होते ही हैं, क्यों ऐसा होता है, कहेंगे ही। इसलिए कहानी कहने में हमको बहुत ध्यान रखना होता है कि हम जब कहते हैं तो ये प्रश्न उपस्थित होने की संभावना है, हमारे पास उसका उत्तर है, नहीं है तो हमको कहानी नहीं कहनी चाहिए। ठीक, हाँ।
Especially in
how does one stop overthinking?
What do you mean by overthinking?
It just goes on in your mind, and then sometimes you build scenarios and situations, and you keep thinking. I know mindfulness is one practice. We should try to keep our mind in the present moment. Anything more that you can advise us?
Yeah, I think to understand the mind is more important than any practice we carry out with the mind. Yes, observing the mind, mindfulness are all practices, but all of that presupposes on our part the understanding what the mind is. Why is the mind doing what it is doing? That's what we have to understand. Either anxieties in the mind, worries or anxieties in the mind, or mind just doesn't have a center, doesn't have any objective. Is that the reason why it keeps jumping from one to the other? Or are there some concerns that the mind has about what will happen, some anxiety of the future the mind may have? The past also influences the present. So what has happened in the past also lingers on in the present. Because we do not conclude an experience, there is no conclusion of an experience. Any experience that takes place leaves in its wake some impression, some reaction, whether I like something, I did not like something, it created love for something, hatred for something. Thus, there is no conclusion as a result of an experience. Every experience leaves some impression, and all this builds up. And that's the reason why the mind is driven by these latent impressions that are built into the mind. And so, mindfulness is very important but very difficult when the mind is running around so much. But we should sympathetically look at the mind and try to understand what its difficulties are, what its concerns are, what its anxieties are. It may have some hurt, from various experiences. When someone mistreated me, someone was unfair to me, I feel hurt. When I treat someone like that with unfairness, then there is a guilt in my mind. Hurts, guilt, all of these things are accumulated in the mind. They are not resolved, meaning that the accounts are not settled. So these unsettled accounts, they keep on pushing the mind. And therefore, we should try to understand the mind. Are there some anxieties in the mind? Is there some guilt in the mind? Is there hurt in the mind? Or of course, the mind can be simply restless, is goalless. Without any purpose also the mind can run around. If without the purpose the mind is running around, then let us give the mind a purpose. Ask the mind to repeat Ram, 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 some name. Give the mind an occupation. Not just observe the mind, mindfulness is okay, but in our opinion. So better that we engage the mind as centered upon Ishvara in some way or the other. So the mind doesn't know what to do. It is moving from one thing to the other. We can give mind an occupation. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. It may not settle there also, but this is what we should try to do. The real mindfulness will be there when the mind first learns to engage in meaningful thing. And then it will be possible for us to be able to understand the mind, observe the mind. So, number one, understand the mind, what are the concerns, if there are. But the mind is a habit of just running around, and give it some meaningful occupation. That's why puja, archana, chanting, japa, these practices are meant to give meaningful activity to the mind. Because when the mind gets engaged with Ishvara in one form or the other, one, it is healing to the mind, and number two, it also brings about the purification of mind. And so let us say mind as a habit of just running around, thinking without any reason, it's possible. Then we should give mind a meaningful occupation. Something is centered on Ishvara. So that we introduce a new habit in the mind. I'm sure you're doing it, but then this is how mindfulness comes when mind becomes meaningful to begin with. If mind is meaninglessly running around, it is very difficult to be mindful. Then we will try to give some meaning to the mind at that time. Give it some meaningful engagement.
Swamiji, I have a 19-year-old son, and I've brought him up obviously believing in God and praying to all our gods and everything. But last week he asked me a question, that you ask me to pray and I do it, but what is the proof that there is God? I'm not challenging that there is no God, but can you tell me a proof that there is God?
We can also ask him, is there a proof that there is no God? Because what is his idea of God? When one is questioning the existence of God, one is questioning existence of a particular kind of God. Many people reject God. Not God as such, but what they have been told, what they have understood God is, and that is the kind of God that is not acceptable to them. That is not the question with your son, I can see. But then, it is asking what's the proof that there is God. Asking, what do you mean by God? You want proof of what kind of God you want proof of? Let us say our concept of God, He is a creator, sustainer, dissolver, compassionate, benevolent. All this will be questioned. Where is benevolence? Where is justice? Where is fairness in the world? I see everywhere all conflicts and unfairness and injustice. So when we observe, when we see these things in the world on the surface, then these questions arise. How do you explain this? If there is God, how come He does not do something about this? If this war is going on, why doesn't God stop it? If suffering is going on, why doesn't God stop it? We expect God to do certain things, and when He does not do that, we say, where is God? I mean, I do not know what is going on in His mind, or what it is that has led Him to this question of how do I know there is God? Is what is your understanding of God? About whom you have a question. Oh, mother, I think that mom, God must be fair, He must be loving, He must be compassionate, He must be this, that, and so on. Suppose he says that. What makes you think it is not so? Where is compassion? There is cruelty everywhere, there is conflict everywhere. But is it everywhere? You are looking at certain things in the world. Yeah, some conflict is going on, a war is going on. Does it define the whole universe? What happens to us is that we read this newspaper, watch TV, and this and that. We think that's what the world is. These people sensationalize things. It is in their own interest that they only propagate what is negative or what is sensational, because then alone people would be interested in what they represent. But what they are doing is taking one small aspect of reality and blowing it up and making us think that that's all there is in the universe. That's not so. Not that there is injustice everywhere, not that there is cruelty everywhere. Just now she's saying about mother, very well, there is a lot of love everywhere also. A lot of love is there, a lot of compassion for us to see. If our mind is influenced by those who want us to see it that way, because in their interest, it's a different thing. But the reasons why this question arises as to what is the proof that there is God? First of all, of what kind of God do you want proof? You follow? Oh, I am seeking proof of God in heaven. How do you know there is heaven? How do you know there is God in heaven? But if he said, what is this God? What is all manifestation of God? Then there will be further questions, and we need, of course, understanding ourselves about what Ishvara is. But thus we can explore the reason for his question. Before answering a question, we should know where the question is coming from. What is the reason why the question arises? Now, here this may be a simple, innocent question, just a general, question. But otherwise, it is possible that somebody is bothered about something, pained about something, concerned about something, which brings about these questions. Even if you answer about God, those things are not answered, you will answer those things that are bothering them. There may not be anything about yours and him, it's just a passing question. How do you know there is God? The Vedantin's answer is very simple. Do you accept that you are there? Do you need the proof that you are there? Ask him. Ask anybody. Yes, I am there. How do you know you are there? How do you know you are there? I'm asking you, are you there? How do you know?
Because I can think, I exist,
How do you say you exist?
yeah, exactly. I have a physical body, I have a physical presence.
Suppose you don't have physical body. Things that don't have physical body, do they exist? Is it possible that something exists only because of physical body? Can something exist without physical body also?
Because we are taught all the souls and everything, they do exist.
So anyway, you say that you are. You know that you are. There is no doubt that I am, isn't it? In Vedanta, it's a self-revealing fact that I am, that I exist, does not require proof because it is self-proving, self-revealing fact. We can question about everything else, whether this is there, that is there, how it is, but there cannot be any question about the fact that I am. Is it not so? And how do you say you are? Because you are conscious that you are. So you are, you are conscious. These are all self-established facts. We say that God is and God is conscious. That is God. Would it require any proof? No. If God is such and such, then it may require proof. But if we say simply God is existence, God is awareness, God is intelligence, it's a self-existing, self-revealing fact. Doesn't need any proof. It would require a Vedantic teacher, to communicate this to him.
But still, I mean, I got a little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Which I can convey to him.
Yes.
Thank you, Swami.
So we have time for two more questions, and Swamiji, or we can explain about the chakra.
Hmm.
कोई आपके बच्चे आपका मन दुखाए तो आप कैसे उसको कंट्रोल करें, कैसे कैसे करते हैं?
हाँ, अपने बच्चे आपका हमारा मन दुखाए,
किसी के भी बच्चे मन दुखाए क्या करें?
ऐसा तो कोई नियम नहीं है कि सिर्फ हमारे बच्चे ही हमारे मन को दुखाते हैं, दूसरे लोग भी दुखाते हैं। और यदि हम प्रश्न, एवरीबडी अंडरस्टैंड हिंदी? डू यू फॉलो हिंदी?
Yes, everybody understands.
शंकर, you do? Okay. Yeah. We have to first of all explore why is this my son or anybody else, why is that person causing pain to me? Is that person causing pain because the person is happy? Is it our happiness that is causing pain to me? You think he is happy? That's why he's causing pain? Huh? Not happy. So there is pain in him. And a person in pain causes pain to someone else. Because we don't know how to deal with that pain, how to express it, how to deal with it. So most people deal with the pain by causing pain to others. This is the usual thing among human beings. Unfortunately, since we do not know how to process our pain, the simple way that we adopt is to express that pain by causing pain to someone else. So first thing that we note about, let's say your son, or it can be anybody, is the one who is causing pain to me is in pain himself. Therefore, second thing, that nobody causes pain to someone else deliberately. And I'm going to cause you pain. You can't. Come on, I'm going to cause pain to you. You can, but you cannot. You follow what I'm saying? Meaning that you do not deliberately cause pain to someone, it happens. That pain within myself just manifests, expresses itself in terms of words, in terms of behavior, in terms of, and causes pain. Meaning that in this case, because the son is the question, it is not your son that is causing you pain, it is pain in him that is causing you pain. Understand this. He is not deliberately causing pain. If he is deliberate, he cannot cause pain. If you are deliberate, we cannot cause pain. Our Swamiji used to say this. We cannot deliberately get angry. Come on, get angry. Get angry at me. Please. Get angry at me. The Rishi is laughing. Instead of getting angry, Rishi is laughing. Because we cannot deliberately get angry. We'll talk about it tomorrow also. We have this written. But anyway, anger happens. Anger expresses itself. So the pain happens. Nobody deliberately causes pain to other. The pain within one's own self expresses itself in a manner which is painful to someone else. So let us understand the person who we think is causing pain to us. Number one, that person is not deliberately causing pain, doesn't know what to do with the pain. Also, that pain is causing him to behave in this manner. So, this is one rule. There is a behavior and there is a person who is behaving in that manner. person behaves in a certain manner. Thus there is behavior, there is person behind the behavior. There are two entities. Behavior and the person behind the behavior. So behavior is painful. If we also look at the person behind the behavior, we will find that that person is in pain. So suppose you decide not to give importance to the behavior, but take into account the person behind the behavior. Normally we react to behavior. You do something, but instead of reacting to the behavior, if I bring to my mind, our Puja Swami used to call it two-step response. One step response is that he causes behavior and I retaliate. The second step is, rather than retaliating to the behavior, rather than responding to the behavior, if I look at the person behind the behavior, then I find there is a person in pain. When I see somebody in pain, I cannot cause pain to that person. I will have sympathy. So, if our son causes pain to us, there is pain in the heart. You may say, I have not caused the pain. You may not have caused pain. But there are plenty of reasons for somebody to be in pain. So make yourself think that the person behind the behavior is in pain, deserves my sympathy rather than my retaliation. That's the way we can try.
Last question everyone has with you, Swamiji. Right.
She's already given me an assignment.
Yeah. He explained to us so well.
Today, in fact, not yesterday, but today is the real Shankaracharya Jayanti.
Yes. So we should know about
6th of May is the Shankaracharya Jayanti. See, we counted from the 3rd, Tritiya, and 2 days, 5th. So, this Vaishakh Shukla Panchami is the birthday of Shankaracharya. So, we counted from Tritiya, but it is today.
wonderful. It's a
Actually.
very auspicious day.
Very auspicious day. And Shankaracharya is one of the greatest marvel that India has produced. See, other sages are all a matter of, what shall I say, that there was a Vedavyasa, that all these people, great rishis were there. And we accept them because the Puranas describe them. But here is one who is a matter of proof that he existed, such and such place, such and such time, and did this, such and such thing. We have all those things available that Shankaracharya did. He has done many things. For the students of Vedanta, the most important thing is that he explained with our scriptures to us in a language that we can understand. He opened the key of the secrets to the scriptures. It's a very nice verse in Sanskrit. The Brahma Sutra is a very difficult text upon which Bhashyakara wrote the Bhashya. So, the poet says that there is a very beautiful mala made of jewels and displayed in the jeweler's shop. Beautiful mala, very precious mala. People would come look at it, but they did not have artha. Artha means money. They didn't have artha. So that mala was no use to them. What is this mala? This mala is called Brahma Sutra. Sutra means a thread. Brahma means Ishvara, or so Brahma Sutra is the text, which is like a mala, like a garland, in which the beautiful pearls from the garden of Upanishads are selected and a beautiful mala is made. Each pearl is a jewel, very precious jewel. And like a jeweler has displayed that in his showroom, showcase, people come and see, but they can't buy because they don't have artha. Artha means money. So came Shankaracharya. He gave artha. Artha means meaning. He gave meaning to all those sutras, all those jewels. That is when all the scholars now were able to buy those things, meaning that now they had the artha. One artha, one meaning is money, other is the meaning. So here meaning is the money. When it comes to the jewels in the garden of Upanishads, which are all the great, great mantras, which have, profound meanings. And the ordinary people that we are, we cannot, penetrate into those statements to understand the secret, which is what Shankaracharya provided to us. So now all the scholars are wearing that mala, which is the Brahma Sutra. They're all not talking about Brahma Sutra and Vedanta. When that artha or the meaning was given to all those mantras of which that mala was made, mantras which are chosen from the garden of the Upanishads. So that's what Shankaracharya did, opened for us the profoundness of the teaching of our scriptures. And that was the reason why they were confined only to a very selected crew, but then he made it available to everybody. Otherwise we would not have been talking, there's no way that we would be able to communicate if Shankaracharya was not there. And that is what kept Hindus as Hindus, understand? The Vedic culture, which was essentially eliminated, you can say, had disappeared from this land on account of attacks by fellows who did not accept the authority of Veda, who did not accept Ishvara. All the Nastikas were there and they were very voluble. And because of that, this tradition was almost disappeared. And without that, there is no life, because then there is no purpose in life, no guidance in life. That's what Shankaracharya provided. That's how he revived the Vedic tradition. He revived the Vedic Dharma also. And that's how people were able to adopt that in their life. That's how life became meaningful. And that's how this whole Vedic tradition became rich and strong. That's how the country became very strong and was able to, even though we did not have the strength of the muscles, this strength was there, which were enabled this country, the India, to survive all kinds of aggressions. Whereas most of the countries in the world are converted to Islam or to Christianity. There was one country where they tried very hard and they could not, because of this strength that was provided. So contribution of Shankaracharya in our culture, our tradition, our life is most invaluable. We revere high because it's a tradition that we are coming from. My Guru, his Guru, and that Guru Parampara, that's how them chant the verse Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Vande Guru Paramparam. Parampara is a lineage. I salute the lineage of the Guru and Shishya lineage, which comes down to us from Lord Shiva to all the way up to our teacher. So this very beautiful, again, necklace, the pendant is Shankaracharya Madhyama. This pendant, this necklace of the Guru Parampara, being from Lord Shiva up to our own teacher, has Shankaracharya as a very beautiful pendant. And so we cannot thank enough, because for us he is nothing but incarnation of God. Nobody could have done what he has done, yet did. And so we are happy that today happens to be Shankaracharya Jayanti, that is his birth anniversary, and it's celebrated everywhere in India, here also in many temples. So she has now gotten up asking me to now stop here.
No.
I guess we run out of our time. So
No, Swamiji, you could speak for hours. We'd listen to you. But thank you so much for those words of...
we have other things to do also.
No, that's not the intention, Swamiji. No. Thank you.